Every corner of the globe has something we should all cherish. Its own local music. Homegrown talent is a soundtrack to weddings, a night out with friends, or community events. As a musician myself, I decided it's important to support these performers and protect a scene that relies on you to keep it alive. We'll dive deeper into their stories and go beyond what their songs present. We'll find out what drives and inspires these bangers, twangers, and strummers alike. This is Stage Left. When you think of classic rock, you probably go to Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, the how about Red Sun phenomenon. See, classic rock doesn't have to come just specifically from the 70s. There's a group of young guys in the heart of central Alberta that's still making that old school classic rock sound. I took the opportunity to sit down with Red Sun phenomenon right after a bangin' party, where one hell of a show went down. And although they were definitely a little rough around the edges, they were kind enough to take the time to talk to us about stuff like how the band came together.
Originally, it was kind of funny, really. Calvin and I, we had our own little thing going with some heavy metal band, Cabin Bastards, we call it. Tony and Jay, they kind of had their own thing, decades-long experience with each other. Shit didn't really work out with the Cabin Bastards, and one day I randomly asked Jay, totally blown away, barely even knew the guy. I said, hey man, you want to drum for the band or what? Yeah, sure.
And he's like, hey Jay, what do you think of this little riff? I'm like, I dig it. Keep going. Keep going. I like it. And he wasn't like playing that night, you know, whatever, and just hanging out at the bar. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, right on. This kid's got some shit.
It was one of those drunken weekends there. Jay's band that he was playing at the time, their bass player didn't show up, but he had this fretless aria sitting there. I'm like, I'll pick it up. I just started playing it, and then I just fell in love with the bass after that.
Those two together with their experience and with Calvin and I, our experience coming together, it was really good. It blended really well, and it's what set the foundation.
How long were you guys playing together?
We've been playing for 5 years now, I think, maybe 4.5, somewhere in there.
How did you put up with them that long?
James been in the band for about a year now, a year and a bit. And what an excellent addition. That guy's just ace. Love it.
I was looking for something that wasn't the folky thing that I always do. Not that I don't love doing it and I'm not going to stop doing it, but I was looking for something a little bit more aggressive, and they kind of found me.
As a bit of a guitarist myself, I can tell you that metal music will teach you a lot when it comes to guitar. And you can definitely hear the heavy influences in Dylan and Kelvin's style. When you listen to RSP, you're going to catch a lot of riff work and a lot of harmonized guitars. And they're doing it in a way that's really interesting, taking it from the heavy scene and inputting it into more of a classic rock sound.
Heavy influence with the metal. That was my background coming into this project. But when I met Dylan, he was like a blues prodigy, and I just had to be a part of what he was doing.
I enjoy playing metal guitar personally because I find that that's what keeps your chops up, you know. There's so much intricate stuff going on there, especially like classic metal or classical metal, stuff like that, you know, your arpeggios, sweeps, whatever. Keeps your fingers limber, but the soul and the feeling and where my heart really is when I play the guitar, you know, it's Joe Bonamassa, it's Stevie Ray Vaughan, it's Led Zeppelin, it's the Foo Fighters, right? All those guys, that's really the major influences for me. You know, when I pick up an electric guitar, it's rock and roll, it's simple, it's catchy, I'm looking for the hook, you know, all the things that people want to get up and go, yeah, I love that song, you know?
All right, so we got two metalheads, a bass player that can pretty much play anything, but what about Jay and James? Jay's a fantastic drummer that I've seen live many times, and I'm always blown away at how easy he makes that hold down look and feel. And maybe it's because he's been pretty much literally doing it forever.
Well, when I first started playing, I was playing, 12 years old, playing Wipeout at Legions in Ontario, you know. I was the fastest hands and as a 12-year-old kid had, right? My old man just learned how to go, so.
Now, James might be the newest member of the band, but in my opinion, he's a definite cornerstone. He's one of the most musically knowledgeable people I've ever met. He's a hell of a great performer, and maybe a lot of that comes from growing up in a household that is completely and totally awash in music 24/7.
My mom's always singing or whistling when she's walking around the house doing stuff. My dad's usually playing guitar really loud in the other room. Always noise.
James has brought a whole other edge to that, right? And personally, I love writing with the guy. It's changed the whole angle of everything, added a whole new element, and re-inspired.
Writing classic rock music is not easy. Where do the ideas come from? Is there a main person in the group that sort of orchestrates everything? Or is it a true collaboration? It sounds like a lot of the ideas come from Dylan, but once it's brought forward to the band, everybody just has their part to play, and whatever comes out is, well, that's Red Sun phenomenon.
Dylan, that guy's a wizard, man. He writes everything. Like, and I don't mean like everything for the band, even though that's true. I mean like whether it's for songs or whatever, like he's just always kind of thinking about stuff and making phrases and making words happen. But I mean, as far as playing goes, nobody told me what to play. Nobody said, okay, play this part here, play this part here. They just kind of had me set up and I started playing and they went, yeah, I like what you're doing. You know, so as much as any good collaboration should have, if someone's got input, everyone listens to it and you either everyone likes it or nobody likes it, or you come to a decision from there.
When you go to a Red Sun Phenomenon show, you're about to get kicked in the nuts. It's music you can sing along to, but their stage presence is unbelievable. And one of the big reasons for that is Kelvin. This guy is an absolute madman on stage. And frankly, I don't know how he doesn't break his neck.
Chiropractor. I go before and then he tells me to come right after, or else I am just gimp, like an old man, an 80-year-old man. I'm useless for at least 3 days.
You know, Calvin's absolutely ace. We all laugh a couple times, you know. There'd be a big pile of pipe or something, he'll just walk into it. But he does it with class. He does it with class, right? He executes it perfect every time, intentionally or unintentionally. He nails it.
Has he ever wiped out off the stage?
Oh yeah, we one time we opened up for Johnny McQuaig band, who are now Arcana Kings. And they called up the band. They wanted to do a band shot at the end of the night. Fantastic show. I still talk about this one. And on the way up, and about to take the picture, I think in the picture is him falling onto the stage in mid-crowd selfie. And we all had to grab him in mid-picture because he just went, oh. Oh, what a great night. Great show, too.
Now, Tony's one of my favorite guys in the band, not just because we share a name, but offstage he's kind of a quiet and subdued sort of fella. He's got a really special relationship with one of his longtime friends, Jay and Lynn from the band. But when you talk to the whole crew, you can tell that Tony's got a special place in all their hearts.
Tony, I think, comes from a background of, he's been through a lot and has learned a lot, but has obtained it and maintained that. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from, is his past and bringing it to the present and just being the kind of the guy he is now, right?
My own experience with these people, it's very huge to have that, the brotherhood, the sisterhood with Jay and Lynn. I couldn't ask for a better family. Even everything that we build out here, man, you know, it's not just about the band of Red Sun Phenomenon. It's like, it's another entity.
Well, now we've gotten to know a little bit about the fellas and how the band all came together, but what about some of the shows they've played? In their short time together, they've already had quite a bit of success, and they've had some great gigs opening for some huge names.
The opportunity to play out at Tail Creek Mud Music Festival, that was a riot. We got to play the Friday, Saturday there, and a lifelong icon of mine, Kim Mitchell. We got to open up for him last Halloween in 2019. And got to actually, how cool is this, right? Going for a soda with the man himself, right? Fantastic guy.
Actually went to the bar and grabbed a soda?
Yeah, I got to go have a soda with the man himself, Kim Mitchell, and what a great experience that was. Again, amazing show, live with me forever.
Yeah, man, Kim Mitchell was, he's kind of a stepping stone, if you can put it that way.
Were you sweating a little bit knowing he's out there, or?
No, I don't get nervous, man, for anything. I've never been nervous in my life.
You'd have to sober up for that.
Good point. I guess nervousness comes with sobriety.
Right.
Now, one guy we haven't mentioned yet is Donnie Smith, the madman, I call him. In Central Alberta, he's known as the sound guy, the engineer, the recording guru, and he's a big part of Red Sun Phenomenon. From the first time he saw them, he knew he wanted to be a part of the band, and the band knew that they needed him.
Donnie Smith, of course, that guy, day one, fell in love with the band and wanted to do anything he could to be a part of it, you know.
He made us push to the point to where we're at, is what I believe. If it wasn't for him and his belief and that got us going, Donnie started, in my mind.
First time I saw Red Sun was at the Summer Solstice festival we did out at Sean's. I was doing the sound for the weekend. I believe we had 30 bands-ish for 3 days. They were on late at night. I want to say 1 in the morning, something like that. So I was already completely exhausted and over it. And then they came on, blew my mind. I believe later that night, Dylan, the singer of the band, came up and talked to me. And I think I told him something along the lines of, hey, I want to record your guys' first album. So since then we became friends, and I've been working with him ever since. A breath of fresh air was the first thing I noticed about this band. It's a blast back to the past in a way, but with a bit of a modern style to it. And I'm a big fan of old rock, classic rock, blues. That was how I thought of them, and I still think of them that way.
It seems now like all the pieces are in place for success. They've got the band, they've got the brains behind the recording, and they've got a pile of support from the community. So what's next?
So your last album came out last year.
Yeah.
And it was just self-titled.
Yeah.
So, but are you back in the studio doing some more now?
We are. We've started. The drums are done. The bass is, I think, done. I don't know when I'm going back in, but we are working on 3 songs.
Well, we're working on a new album right now, which is going to be a compilation of the old album and a new one together. Basically 2 EPs making 1 LP. We haven't really talked about the future after this because my head is right now in the production of this record. After that, we'll talk about what to do in the future. But I know they are already writing some new material. There's definitely future albums as long as everything keeps moving.
I like to think we had some momentum built up before this whole shutdown thing happened. Hopefully we're able to pick back up where we left off, and I'm hoping that in less than 5 years we're touring. And
see what the new normal is going to be after this is all done.
So I feel like you're the type of guy where they're like, here's your date, show up, play, and then we'll fucking figure it out from there. You're that guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm that guy.
He's got no idea what's coming up next because he doesn't know.
No idea. I don't even know where I am right now.
Okay, maybe Kelvin's not the guy to ask about the plan, but there is one in place, and they've even got an artist like Brandon from Lucent Tattoos right here in Central Alberta who's already planning out the artwork for the new album.
Working hard on a kick-ass album. We're gonna make it look good. I'm gonna put it together for them and gonna design everything, take all their photos, work on some new art, maybe some new logo stuff, and pretty excited about it. It's gonna be good.
Honestly, we're all pretty excited. They got a great sound, and they're even better dudes off stage. They're the kind of guys that make sure you're gonna have the best time possible. So the next time you see Red Sun Phenomenon on the marquee, you make a damn point to be there at the show. And also, you might want to pre-hydrate and plan on getting 0 sleep that night. Because even though they might set the house on fire, ain't nobody praying for rain to put it out. This is the kind of thing we want to see burning for a very long time coming.